I'll go ahead and open it up to questions.
What are you wearing? Can you explain your dress?
Yes. This is a jalaba. It is worn by both men and women. It's not pajamas. They wear it out and about. And just like the only difference is that, you know, the women's is maybe a little bit cuter.
What's the average temperature?
The average temperature is on the whole warmer than here. Like it would never be like this where I'm at. But it is also like colder than you would think. I would say that in winter it'll get to be like 30 at night and 50 during the day. You have to bundle up. I just layer up and I just wear that all day, inside and out the house.
How are Americans viewed?
Americans are viewed positively, honestly. I have never had any kind of negative experience of people like not liking me just because I'm an American. I would say that there are misconceptions. Most people have an idea of Americans as like what you would see on movies because they watch a lot of American movies, so they wouldn't maybe have an understanding of like the diversity of Americans. I mean, you guys have also seen American movies, so you know like the stereotypes that are projected from that. So that's why I think one of the most valuable parts of my job is just like living in this community and having people get to know me on a personal level, and just having them know that there's a place in the world called Missouri and that I'm from it.
Is there anything that you didn't like about Morocco starting out that it's grown on?
That's a good question.
The bathhouse.
No, I like that from
The beginning. It's my favorite story, I think.
It's not an exact answer to the question, but I guess I've grown more chill about certain things. So maybe not things that have grown on me necessarily, but things that I've stopped being upset about. Like, I think I've always been one of the more laid-back members of my family, but I'm also comparing myself to Chris Bess and Ashley Walker. Just like more laid-back. It bothers me even still sometimes, like not being able to predict when the store is going to be open, or you know, like the bus being 30 minutes late or something like that. Like it gets me a little bit in a fizz, but then
Because they all just say inshallah, right?
Yeah, inshallah means God willing, and it's a very inshallah culture. Like, I'll see you on Sunday, inshallah. Like, if the bus comes, you know, if many ifs after that.
I can attest that she is on Hakuna Matata time.
I have tried to teach my mom the Arabic word for Hakuna Matata, but it hasn't stuck.
Which is, what is it?
Malish.
Malish?
Malish. Yes.
How's your housing over there? Your bathroom, your kitchens, your...
Okay, yeah. Well, I live in a very low cost of living area. Alhamdulillah. Thank God. So I have an entire house freestanding structure to myself for 700 dirham a month, which is about $70 a month. I have my own private roof. The actual like finish and everything, it looks a little bit older. It maybe isn't like the most polished area, but it is sufficient for me. The bathroom is just like a small closet underneath the stairs, and it's just a hole in the ground. It's called the Turkish toilet, and that is your toilet and your shower, and my sink actually also, because I don't have an actual sink, I just have a faucet with a bucket underneath. I will say that I don't know how average that is. I don't want to give the impression that every home in Morocco doesn't have like a sink in the bathroom. I would say most people actually do. It wasn't important to me when I was house hunting. And there's also, I would say, a very sizable portion of Moroccan houses that don't have sinks in their bathroom. So it's just dependent on who you are, I guess. And yeah, the kitchen, for example, like you got everything that you would have here, but like, for example, the stove and the oven are powered by a Buddha tank gas, which you have to refill when it runs out and everything. That's a little bit different.
Do you have a fridge?
Yes, I do have a fridge. Everyone basically has a fridge. You don't really have to use it in the winter because it's the same degrees in the house as like a fridge would be, like about 40 degrees. So that saves a little bit of money, honestly, on your electricity bill.
No heat.
You don't have any heat.
No heat or
No,
AC.
I don't have any heat or AC. So, but there are definitely manageable ways to deal with that, especially in the area that I live in. Like in the summer, for example, I sleep on a mattress underneath a mosquito net on my roof. That helps a lot. I keep frozen water bottles in my little freezer compartment because it's a half fridge, of course. And I'll like stick that in my armpits and just like hang out during the heat of the summer. And then of course during winter, it's just, you just bundle up and you don't bathe, really. I do go to the hammam though. I go to the hammam once a week. And you know, if it's winter and you're not sweating a lot, like that's all you really need. You really don't have to bathe as much as you guys probably bathe. Just letting you know.
What do you cook for yourself?
For myself, I cook mainly American food when I am home by myself. A lot of people ask me if I make Moroccan food, and I say, honestly, no. Like, I mean, Moroccan food is basically just like fruits and vegetables and meat in a tagine. And I mean, that's basically what it is. I don't eat meat, but that is out of cost and convenience. I mean, when you buy meat in Morocco, you go to the butcher and they chop off half of the chicken for you, and then you have to go home and saw all the meat off of the bones and stuff yourself. So that's just laziness on my part. It causes me to be vegetarian literally all the time. I go to somebody's house and then I'll eat meat at their house.
What food were you most looking forward to being home
To
for
eating
Christmas?
here.
Mm-hmm.
You said pizza, right?
Bacon.
Bacon.
It's like I really didn't crave it while I have been over there for 15 months, but but I was like, when my mom asked me, what would you like me to cook you while I'm here? I said bacon, because I knew that there's no pork really.
Eating 3 pounds.
When I got here and I tasted it again, I was like, oh yeah, man, this is amazing. So yeah, I'll probably miss that when I go back for the long haul. But I think if it really gets bad, I've seen bacon before in like the big cities.
Can you tell me a little bit about like the entertainment culture? Like what do they do for fun?
What do they do for fun?
You said they do
Look at the
like,
American.
read a lot.
They come and go.
Yeah, that's true. They watch a lot of TV. The TV is on basically the whole time. Like every time I go to somebody's house, they've got the TV on. They watch a lot of American movies, but they also watch a ton of Indian movies. I would say it's actually probably pretty half and half. They really like their soap operas to be from Turkey, but they don't read. That's why Hafida and I are trying to get this community library started, because reading is seen as something that you just do when you're studying for a test. I think at this training, they hit us with a statistic that you guys might find interesting. It was the average American reads like, I don't know, I want to say 9 books a year. If you average it out, you might want to double check on that, but it's something like that, like 9 books a year, and the average Moroccan reads 11 pages a year.
Oh, wow.
They just don't read, like unless it's Quran or unless they're studying for a test. So they don't really do that for entertainment. A lot of the men hang out in cafes all day, every day, unless it's like, harvest time or planting time. And the women usually socialize within their homes. Teenage girls can like kind of hang out outside, like on the streets and stuff, but not in the cafes. I'm the only woman in my town who like goes to a cafe, and I only go when I need Wi-Fi. So, and that is honestly, I can truthfully say, maybe about once every week or 2. Because usually I keep a list on my phone of everything that I need to do on the internet, and I go to the next town over once a week to visit my friend Jesse. He's from Chicago. It's been really, really nice having another American just 7 kilometers away from me. And he has really good data connection in his town. So between that, I really don't have to go to my own cafe very often. But I do, and I think it's good for people to see, like, hey, here's a woman sitting in a cafe, and nothing bad is happening.
How do the men respond when you walk in?
They're chill. Like, especially since I go to the same one every single time. It took me maybe a couple months to like find my cafe, but I've got my regular place that I go now, and they all expect me when I come in. So, well, and I usually bring my computer. It's definitely more of a phone culture over there. No one really has laptops. Computers are pretty rare. They just kind of skipped that whole stage, but everyone has a smartphone. So everyone's on their phone, but I come in with my little laptop and I set up shop. And I think they can tell that I'm like working, because usually that is, as I already told you, it's because I can't wait until the next Wednesday to send some email. Oh yes, also, I haven't been able to climb my mountain in a couple of months actually, but in the summer especially, I was going up there probably like 3 or 4 times a week. And after I had been doing that for a couple of months actually, I finally realized one day that there's 3G up there. So that also like was a huge bonus. So I could go up there and do like low level stuff like checking Facebook or Instagram or something, or the news. So yes, that is my third source of internet. Going somewhere else entirely, going to the cafe, or climbing an hour to the top of a mountain. There are some people with Wi-Fi in their houses, but it's just not strong Wi-Fi. And I'm not about to spend 200 dirham a month for subprime Wi-Fi.
How you get paid?
Oh,
Like,
yes, your tax dollars go into my Moroccan bank account every month. It actually varies from month to month, but it's always between like 2,500 dirham and like 2,900 dirham, so between like $250 to $290 a month. And I live very comfortably on that. The cost of living is very low. As I already told you, my rent is 700 dirham a month. My utilities and water are usually around 70 dirham a month together. And yeah, food and stuff is really cheap too.
How long did it take you to learn your language?
I mean, honestly, I'm still not fluent, and I don't think I ever will be. I think when you start learning a language at age 22, you're never gonna get there, unless you live there like literally for the rest of your life. But I am pretty good. At the end of my training period, I tested at intermediate mid. I feel in the past year I have come a long way. I am able to have some pretty good conversations with people, and of course like the everyday stuff, like small talk, I've like got in the bag.
Let's hear it.
Say something.
Oh,
Let's hear
you
you
said
say
it.
ما بعرف شنو بدفت نقول، ولكن خنفكر على شي حاجة.
just making that up.
Was that sufficient? Because all I said was, I don't know exactly what to say, but I'll think of something. But did that demonstrate? There we go.
What's your plans after the peace corps?
Well, I would like to work someday in the foreign policy or international relations field. I would say that the first step towards that would be getting a master's degree. Degree inflation. What are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? But yeah, so after Peace Corps, I will apply to jobs in that field and grad schools, and hopefully get something without having to go tens of thousands of dollars into debt. So pray for me.
You said it like a lot of TV. Is the news on over there, and is it censored?
Is it center?
Censored.
Oh, censored. Well, yes, they do have the news like 3 times a day, 3 or 4 times a day like we do. They don't have local news, which is something that hit me relatively recently. It's one of those things that you don't really notice is gone until one day you just wake up and say, where's the local news? Or at least that's what I said to myself. But yeah, they just have the national news that comes out of Rabat, and it covers everything that's going on in the whole country. And I guess, like, is it censored? That's kind of like a rough question, because I wouldn't, I know some things that are like sensitive in Morocco, Western Sahara being like #1. So yeah, it probably is censored in the sense that they don't talk about. I mean, it's definitely like this is the government's. I'm pretty sure that
It's state news.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's state news. I don't know if it's censored so much as it has its own agenda that it sticks to. Morocco has a king and as of 2011, when the Arab Spring was happening, he gave some concessions, I guess, to the Moroccan populace, and so now they have a constitutional monarchy. They have like a parliament, but this parliament is only like 6 or 7 years old, and so it's still slightly fledgling. I would still say that the king does have most of the power. The thing that sets Morocco apart from maybe other Arab countries is that like the king has quite a bit of legitimacy, I would say, in the eyes of the people, so it's a pretty stable country. Obviously, because if it wasn't, the United States Peace Corps wouldn't be in the country. Morocco is the only Middle Eastern North African country that still has a Peace Corps presence. We did also have a program in Jordan up until like 2014 or maybe 2015, so very recent, but they pulled out of Jordan because of anything that was happening domestically, but because of the proximity to Syria and Iraq and all the mess that's going on in those countries. So for security reasons, they cut the Jordan program, but we're still in Morocco. So it's honestly, I feel like it's a pretty important thing that we're there because it's the only like official U.S. government presence that America has in a MENA country other than military. So I think it's a positive thing.
Is the monarchy based on a royal bloodline? Or
Yeah, it's hereditary. Yeah, and they've got pictures of the king all over. Like, that's kind of weird.
Does the king have a queen?
Yeah. And they told me that she's from Khenifra, which is like the town that I go to the Carrefour, the grocery store. So like, Khenifra, that's interesting. And they say she speaks Tamazight too. And so I asked if their kids speak Tamazight, because the king and his kids, they all speak like 7 languages, because they speak like all the European languages and Arabic. And they said no. I was like, well, if the mom is from Khenifra and speaks Tamazight, then you would think that she would have taught that to her children. They're going to rule over these people one day, but what are you going to do, I guess? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Tamazight culture is becoming more mainstream, people are becoming more proud of it, but there is still like stuff like that. Like, the queen didn't bother to teach it to her own kids who are going to be the rulers one day. You know what I mean? It's that dynamic kind of.
Do you have any restrictions on what you can do and teach and that kind of stuff? I mean, I figured being a Muslim country, it sounds like you're really pretty free to do a lot of things, but I wonder what kind of restrictions.
As far as like what I can do, as an American, I get a lot of free passes. I think that is also compounded by the fact that I live in a relatively chill town. I mean, it's still like more conservative than, I would say it's as conservative as like a lot of places in America, but just like Muslim conservative rather than Christian conservative. But I know a lot of my friends, my co-volunteers, live in towns that are much more conservative than mine. Like my friend Hannah can't go to the cafe at all. She can't wear sleeves past her elbow. I can wear short sleeves. Like, it's not a big deal as far as what I can do. I am pretty free. As far as like what I can teach and like talk about, I guess honestly, it is a little bit different. One of the best examples I think that like kind of portrays this is at this library training that I went to with Hafida. We were learning about book cataloging systems, and we were learning about the Dewey Decimal System, and the 900s are for religion. And then I don't know if I didn't know anything about the Dewey Decimal System before I went to this training, but apparently it's like the 910s are like books about Christianity, 920s are like Judaism, 930s Islam, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And on this little handout that we had detailing all of the Dewey Decimal System categories, the religions category was all blocked out except for the subcategory for Islam. And I didn't say anything about it because I figured I already knew the answer. But another co-attendee, Peace Corps volunteer, raised his hand and asked about it. I wager he knew the answer as well, but maybe he just wanted to hear Muhammad say it. And Muhammad was like, "Yeah, you're not going to be buying any books about any other religions other than Islam." That's one thing that I really value about America, and I hope that America stays strong in the freedom of ideas. You can read about whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. You don't have as much of that in Morocco. But I will also say that you have much more of that in Morocco than you have in a lot of other countries in the world. So,
what's the healthcare system like?
I don't know as much about the healthcare system, but I'll try to answer as best as I can. Because as Peace Corps volunteers, we have like our own healthcare thing through, honestly, like some of the best doctors probably in the capital city. But as far as the other people, for the majority of Moroccans, it's government healthcare, but they're pretty lax about like making sure doctors actually show up. For example, there is a doctor's office in my town. I don't know as much about. I actually weirdly know more about the town in Agulmous's healthcare system because I talked to my friend Matthew about it. He said that there is a government clinic there, and there's always like a lot of people lined up at the door because the doctors don't show up till like 10, and then they leave at 3. The pharmacies, I'm pretty sure you have to buy your own, but the prices for drugs over there are like normal prices. They're not what we pay here. So yes, they do have to pay for themselves, but I don't think it's that bad. I know a lot of people are on diabetes medication and they pay for it themselves.
Tell us more about the Hammam.
Hammam? Alright, well the Hammam is the best experience you'll ever have. If you're ever lucky enough to go to Morocco and go to the Hammam. What I do is I get in my bucket that doubles as like my laundry machine and my sink, and it also...
the hammam is your bathhouse, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And I use it especially in the winter because it's so miserable to bathe in an unheated house in the winter. So I take my bucket with all of my toiletries and my clothes for changing into, and my little stool that's like this tall, and I pay $10 to go to the hammam, 10 dirham, to go to the hammam, and I stay there usually for about an hour and a half, I would say, in the hammam. You have to use a special kind of soap. I've tried it with American soap, and it really doesn't work as well. You have to use sabon bildi. It's black soap, smear it all over, let it soak in for a little bit. Then you get your keys out, and you exfoliate your whole body. Some Moroccan woman will inevitably take pity on you and offer to do your back. And then you say yes, and you're like, oh my gosh, shukran, shukran, oh, ana miskina, oh, thank you so much. And then you offer to do the same for her, and then she inevitably turns you down, either because she doesn't think you'll do a good job, which is probably true, or because she thinks it would be awkward. I don't know.
Who does their backs?
They all do each other's backs.
Oh, okay.
But I think in the 15 months I've been living there and going to the hammam, because I started going to the hammam basically immediately. So I can honestly say it's been 15 months of hammamming. I think I've only actually had one lady take me up on my offer to
exfoliate her back.
So I usually
They probably talked about you behind your back.
Probably.
No, pun intended.
Probably talk about me like right when I'm there, because like it's even when you're in, like I'm not, Arabic is not my first language as it is, and then when you're in the hammam, it's like being in a locker room with the water going and it's really echoey. I can't understand anything.
So it's heated water.
Kind of like going to the hammam, I kind of compare it to like, I feel like I go into Narnia, like time stops outside of the hammam, and like everything's kind of fuzzy, because I take my glasses off too, and so I can't really see anything, and everything's like ooey and muffled, and there's a naked woman scrubbing your back. It's a wonderful experience though, I go back. Honestly, yeah, you get such a deep clean by going to the hammam that you really don't have to bathe more than once a week. Like, just change your underwear halfway.
Let's talk about this book.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, this this is the weekly market. There are many things that you can get in my town any day of the week at the Hanuts. Basically any dry goods, spices, like milk, eggs. But for a lot of things, you'll get better prices. For my town, it happens on Saturday. All these people come in. It kind of looks like a flea market. But yeah, that's how people buy their stuff in Septet Rahu. Any town bigger than Septet Rahu, you can get some things like any day of the week. But yeah, the smaller the town, the more likely it is that you're dependent on the weekly souk to get your stuff.
How different is it for these young women that you are doing this female empowering for? Or how countercultural is that?
Culture in Morocco reminds me a little bit of what I've read and seen about like America in the 1950s. Like women can be nurses, they can be teachers, they can like be cooks, but other than that, it's not much else. Like a really challenging thing, honestly. To all these young girls, they don't even think about other avenues that might be available to them. And I think that honestly, one way of like combating that is just like honestly just being there. Like it's a really big deal, for example, that I live by myself. Not just like as a woman, but just like Arabic cultures usually aren't really big on alone time. And so, but it's exasperated, I would say, by the fact that I am a woman. Like that's even weirder than the idea of a man living by himself. And so just like the fact that I'm 23, living in a completely different country by myself, away from my family, away from my parents, and like I have a job, that I think is valuable in and of itself, just to like show these young women that there is another path if they don't want to be a wife and a mother and that's it. I mean, some people, that's what they want. But.
The children ever ask you any questions about Christianity?
No, honestly, they don't.
They are just so Muslim. They don't.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, you know.
They try to get you to be Muslim, right?
Yeah.
Because they care about.
There have been some conversion attempts, and I see it as coming from a really good place because you know, like if they didn't care about me, they wouldn't care whether or not I went to heaven or hell, and they really think that I'm going to hell. So, like there's been a few like conversion attempts on their end. No one ever really asked me about Christianity.
What do they ask you about, like from America? Do they ever ask you questions about?
Yeah.
About here, or no?
I'm kind of blanking, because I guess a lot of those conversations don't really start with an explicit question, but you know it just comes up kind of naturally, and I tell them about my culture, and sometimes like Christianity comes into that. Like for my little Christmas party that I had, holiday party, like because I had a like disclaimer at the beginning before the cookies, like, hey, in America there's it's not like 99% one religion like it is here. Like we have a lot of different religions. So I told them like a lot of people say happy holidays because there's Christmas, there's Hanukkah, and then there's like the New Year's too. Like I don't hide that I'm a Christian. Like I say that I am, but you know, I sometimes like my Darts Leva girls especially, like I get the sense that they feel like they're talking about something like a little bit risque.
How safe and respectful do you get, or respect do you get over there?
Yeah.
From the men?
In my town, it's good. Everyone knows me. Maybe they're very disrespectful to me after I walk by, but no one says anything to me. Yes, in the bigger cities, especially the cities where people are used to seeing tourists, the harassment it's not great. Like, especially as like an obviously foreign person, I get a little bit more harassment on the streets in the big city.
Like what kind of harassment?
Just like sexual harassment.
Like
Whistling and yoo-hoos and...
Yeah, like, and you know, it honestly doesn't happen every time. And like, maybe, sometimes it's kind of interesting to hear them like try to guess my language because they always start out with French, but then they'll like, when I don't respond, they'll like really go down the line pretty fast. And you just don't respond because they have no way of knowing what language you speak. And if you don't respond, then they you know, but, I mean, I'm not gonna say like the worst thing I've heard because this is a church event. Like,
Yeah.
ranges, obviously. So,
But you get whistles here anyway.
yeah, I mean, gosh, there'd be something wrong if I wasn't getting whistled.
When I was overseas, they thought all Americans were millionaires.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty accurate thing. Like people assume that you're pretty wealthy. So, yeah, because I mean, honestly, the only Americans that travel to these countries are wealthier. If you're poor, you can't afford the flight.
Talk about your experience with the culture as far as the meat, like talking about your sheep experience. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I had to bring it all the way around.
So during Eid Al-Kabir, it's the holiday of the sacrifice, and it celebrates the willingness of Abraham to sacrifice his son Ishmael, or Isaac in the Judeo-Christian tradition. And so yeah, every single family sacrifices a sheep if you got a little money to burn, and a goat if you're a little bit more on a budget. And yeah, the idea is that you're supposed to eat the entire thing, or at least everything that you can eat out of it. So that was my first time eating a lot of different organs that I've never eaten before.
Talk about some of your favorite ones and what organs were the worst.
I was surprised that the intestines were pretty good. You just gotta not think about the function the intestines do. I'm just honestly not a fan of organs in general. Like I know some people really like kidney, right? Like our liver, right? Grandpa, you eat.
That's like an older generation.
Yeah, but I've never liked liver anyway. Like, so that wasn't fun for me. But I got it down, and then in the evening we went over to Aisha's brother's house and we had like roast flank. It was really, really good, and that was also the setting for my best joke that I've ever made in Arabic that flopped totally. But I thought it was so great because in the morning we were eating organs all morning, and like I was being a trooper, but I think it was showing a little bit that I wasn't like a huge fan. And so later in the evening when we were eating the meat, the word for meat in Arabic is lahem, and then they also say hamdulillah as like thank God. And so I asked them if we were done with the organs now and now we're going to eat the meat, and they said yes. And I said, oh, well, alhamdulillah. And I thought that was funny. But no one else really got it. I don't know. Maybe I didn't enunciate it. I can't imagine that they wouldn't laugh. So yeah, it's hard speaking in a different language because you can't be funny. I was just talking about this with Franny, the German in the room. You know, when you're not in your native language, you're not as quick, you're not as witty, and you seem...
You're really funny in English,
yeah,
Caitlyn.
sometimes I tell people like how funny I am.
How do you advertise your activities?
If word of mouth is how you do it, in September. But like there have been times where I will literally like walk to the well or go on a run or something like that, just because I want to pass by where I know like all the kids are playing, so I can tell them, oh hey, by the way, this is going on later this week, and I know that they'll disperse the information. So
how much new ground is this work that you're doing blazing? I mean, was there somebody doing this before you came, and will there be somebody come in and follow you after you're done?
I am the first volunteer in my town, so that has presented some challenges there because there's no precedent. Hopefully there will be a couple of volunteers after me. Like the mission of the Peace Corps is such that you're supposed to put yourself out of business, but I am of the opinion that no community can get to that place in 2 years. And if they can, then they probably didn't need a volunteer business. You know what I mean? So I think you need at least like 3 or 4 volunteers minimum. So yes, there probably will, inshallah, be a volunteer after me. And I do keep that in mind a lot. Sometimes I think one of the most valuable things from my service will be like setting it up really nicely for the next person, like getting materials, starting this library, for example, at the youth center, getting these speakers at my Dar Shabab, and also like passing off relationships too. Like I really do have like some pretty good friends, and you know, you kind of pass that off to the next American.
Are there supplies that you need? I've seen, you know, you were doing the Candyland on cardboard. Are there things that we can send to you?
Well, yeah, but like I don't want you to, because I don't want people to be dependent on the American getting stuff sent to them from their family back in America. You know what I mean? But yeah, my Dar Shabab is pretty sparsely supplied, I guess, is the word that I was looking for. I know the avenues through which to get supplies. It's just hard to navigate. I'm getting there. But thank you for your concern. That's a very sweet question.
Well, I was just thinking like pencils and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They want to like. I was gonna say you have a story, a funny story, right, about some
They like
pencils.
well, because a lot of the art supplies over there is not of the highest quality, and so anything that I have, they assume is either expensive or from America or both, whether or not that's true. And yeah, they are really big into my markers and my colored pencils.
Is there anything we can send you home with to like start up the library?
Not as of now, because I'm already at weight. I was packing actually just before I came here today, and I'm already at 50 pounds. One of the things I wanted to bring, and I didn't get a chance to while I was here for these past 2 weeks, was like English children's books, not only for the library, but also to work with my Dar Taliba girls. I worked at an English immersion camp over the summer for like wealthier Moroccan like teenagers. It was outside of my site, and that was I got stuck with the beginners English people actually. My friends got the more advanced groups, but that was one thing that they really liked. One of the other volunteers had brought. Have you guys heard of this like children's English or children's like book series? It's like a little pig and like Gerald the elephant. I don't know. Yeah, Aunt Barbie knows. She had brought a couple of those books, and those students really liked reading those and like acting them out. So yeah, I mean, if you would want to send me books, like I would gladly take them, because I'm not unfortunately able to bring them back this time around.
Did you choose Morocco or was that
Yes, you can select when you apply to the Peace Corps, send me anywhere, but I was very specific on my application that I wanted to go to Morocco, and I probably would not have accepted an invitation to any other country. I really wanted to go to Morocco because I've always been really interested in Islamic cultures, and as I said, with the nixing of the Jordan program, Morocco was the only like Middle East or North African Muslim country that Peace Corps is still in. They're still in, obviously, like a lot of other Muslim countries, but not in that region. Well, I guess that's it.